Now, by the title of this video, you probably think that I don't like Nagi or would take joy in seeing him fail, but that in fact couldn't be farther from the truth, since Nagi is one of my favorite characters, being in my top 5 favorite characters, and at some point was even my second favorite character. So when I say that Nagi needs to fail in the Neo-Egoistleague arc, it's because I think that him failing in this arc is the best thing that could happen to his character. But let me explain. Nagi is a character that, while it's a fan favorite by many, especially towards the beginning of the series during the first and second selection, there are many other readers that have criticism towards the way that Nagi gets portrayed, since the biggest issue with Nagi is a lack of consistency with his character, since at some points in the story he'll go from playing amazing in the first and second selection and proving that he could be a player without needing Ryo, to suddenly not being able to score a goal in the Neo-Egoistleague arc without Ryo's help. And I understand that these two arcs have two very different circumstances, since Nagi wasn't playing players that were at Kaiser's level in the first and second selection, but we actively saw that Nagi was making decisions, being creative, and an independent player, especially during the second selection when he was no longer relying on Ryo. And while he does end up having great moments during the Manshine versus Bastard match, he did end up losing a lot of the things that I just previously listed. And I think the biggest thing that could help Nagi's character to gain those things back would be to keep losing and build up his frustration, since as we've seen in the previous arcs, it's this frustration with losing that has been the best motivator to grow his character. After losing to Isagi in the Team V versus Team Z match in the first selection, we see Nagi more motivated than he has ever been before, since he had a taste of failure for the first time. And while he didn't fully understand why he was feeling this way, he just knew that he needed to follow this feeling of frustration that he felt after losing to Isagi, which is a big reason why he plays so well in the second selection. And I believe that Nagi needs that feeling of frustration again, since after losing to Bastard in the first match, but feeling like he beated Isagi on an individual level, Nagi himself stated that he doesn't think that he can be the world best and that he doesn't understand his own motivation. And while Ryo seems very motivated and sets smaller goals for them in order to keep Nagi's motivation, Nagi doesn't seem as ecstatic about the idea. This conversation had some readers worried that Nagi was going to fall off as a character, but knowing that Nagi has an upcoming movie, a spin-off, and is clearly a favorite of the author, I don't think Nagi will fall off as a character, but it does bring up the question of what is next for his character. Since if his rival's storyline is basically done with Isagi and he is no longer motivated at the moment, then Nagi needs to find his next motivation from somewhere. And while Ryo has said that their next goal is to make the national team so they can play in the World Cup, if Nagi does so poorly in the rest of the matches of the Neo-Egoistleague and ends up dropping down farther in the rankings than people are expecting, especially since he started off with one of the highest values, then Ego could make him not be a starter for the U20 Japan team, since Ego's biggest problem with Nagi is his lack of ego and motivation at times. So Ego could punish Nagi's lack of motivation in the rest of the matches by making him a substitute, and while seeing his other players such as Ryo and Chigiri make the starting team, and that could reignite Nagi's motivation to work again, and his storyline in the next arc could be one of redemption and wanting to prove that Ego that he should be in the starting line, making Nagi ultimately realize that he can't just rely on Ryo or anyone else when on the field, but that it's his own motivation to Ego that needs to drive him more than anything else. Having this happen would give Nagi more of a storyline, since if he just did super well for the rest of the league, then that would just prove the point that Ryo and Nagi should always stay together as a duo, when other characters such as Agi have already stated that by Ryo constantly helping Nagi, it is holding back Nagi's creativity. So by him not doing well, it would be a wake-up call that Nagi needs to realize that he has to push himself and not just rely on other characters. I know some people might think that Nagi doesn't need this wake-up call since he's second in rankings as of the last time we have seen the neoegoistleague rankings, and he's been playing well. But the lack of ego, motivation, and creativity that his character currently has mean that at some point he's going to probably hit a limit. And I think this would be a good direction for his character to go in, since it would force his character to address these issues. Anyways, I wanted to do something a little different by doing a mini video about the character development of a character, so let me know what you think about what I said. Do you think that Nagi failing would lead to more character development for him, or do you think he should just continue to do well for the rest of this arc? Also, don't think that by Nagi not doing well in this arc, I want Manshine to do poorly as a team, since Manshine is still my favorite neoegoistleague team. So I want the overall team to do well even if Nagi fails as their main striker. Anyways, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm on the road to 200 subscribers, so any support is very much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video.